Okay, we're going live. We're on YouTube right now.
We are on YouTube.
Cool. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Holistic Nootropics live stream. This is one of my new favorite things to do all week because I'm locked inside. What else do I got to do other than stream my life for you people, for all the listeners, all the viewers, and we talk about really cool stuff. I'm Eric, one of the co-founders of HolisticNootropics.com. With me today is Nick, the other co-founder of HolisticNootropics.com. Nick, the producer. What's going on with you today?
Oh, not much. Let's see. I woke up early, been sending some emails, going through my news feed, and yeah, that's about it. Took a little walk around the block. The neighborhood's still there after this weekend's hurricane. So, yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, the morning walk is crucial. The morning walk is, people underestimate how important the morning is. I think a lot of people are in our space, especially, that are looking for nootropics, and they go to they go online and they're buying just tons of supplements on Amazon, and they're doing all the biohacking stuff, are completely missing the most, in my opinion, like one of the most fundamental necessary things to do to get your day rolling, which is like build a strong morning. So, I believe, it was a while ago that I came down with some kind of morning routine. It was just a lot of trial and error stuff. But I think one of the most important things to do in the morning is to just move somehow, whether it's a walk, move your body, move your brain. I'm a big fan of the morning pages, just to get things going. That's where you just wake up and just start writing on a blank pad of paper. So, the way you're supposed to do is like 3 full pages. I do like not even that much, but
yeah,
just anything just to get going, get out of bed,
Are you printing, or are you writing in cursive in your morning pages?
I'm handwriting, and my handwriting is abysmal.
Mm-hmm.
Like at the end, I can't read literally anything I wrote.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's to the point where I'm like, the word is in my head and it comes out as just a squiggly line.
Yeah.
So like, I don't even know if I'm doing it right, because I can't. Yeah. If I sat there and like focused on writing things legibly, I wouldn't get this done. It would take me all day to do that.
Right. So I wonder if there's like a happy medium where you are also working on your handwriting, which is like fine motor, which I'm sure could have some benefit. In just kind of making those connections, right? But not to. I have no research to back that up. But I also have terrible handwriting, and whenever I handwrite, I always go, maybe I should try to write this legibly, just as like an exercise, and then I do it for about 10 minutes, and then forget that I was doing that, and then. But I mean, I guess that's part of it, right? It's like going back to it, and but I don't know.
I think I read a book one time all about the benefits of writing with your opposite hand. So and I was doing that. I think I was doing it for like a week, just as an exercise to write, to incorporate that into my pages, and because it stimulates like other neural pathways, and I don't remember like what I found the benefit to be, but it's I just have this belief in just doing stuff, just like do it and see how it affects you, and do it for a while.
I think I read somewhere, meaning heard on a podcast, that like doing things with your opposite hand, whether it's brushing your teeth or, like you were doing handwriting, that it can actually help prevent dementia. I am not a medical professional. Do not quote me on this, but it was something somebody much more qualified than me mentioned in passing. So I say mentioned in passing. So obviously I did not read it, but so
there are so many things like that it's like, will it prevent dementia? I mean, who knows, right? Like all of these things that are like anti-aging, dementia preventing. When you're doing it now, there's no way to tell, oh yeah, this is definitely going to prevent because dementia takes years and years. Even if you're doing everything right, it's like, you know, people start to, like, I see it in, you know, in family members, and but they're also like in their 70s, right? So it's like, okay, if you're in your 30s and you're like, I'm gonna brush my teeth with the opposite hand to prevent dementia, it's like, well, I mean, that's a 40 or 50-year commitment. And are you going to stick to that? Are you gonna do it every day? I mean, probably not. So it's like, how can you even get, like, if you go with people with dementia and you go, hey, here's a survey. Did you ever brush your teeth with your opposite hand? The person with dementia is going to be like, no.
Right.
I don't, why are you asking me?
What, I don't know.
Where's my snacks?
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
Does not.
Brainfacts.org.
So you know that it's
how do you get that domain?
You
you have to buy that from like a special institute, right? You can't just go to Namecheap and get that.
Yeah, you can't. You have to show you all of your credentials. I mean, it's a process for sure. You have to go to medical school. I mean,
for sure.
And then you can and all the articles have to be written by
this guy,
science writers with bachelor's degrees.
Yeah.
Okay. Master's degree in science journalism from NYU. So
he's better than everybody.
So he's you know, so you need to have quite a background to write this stuff. But it's what a 1,000 word article. So
and it was written in 2019. So that's when you were writing 1,000 words because you thought it was good for SEO.
Yes.
So that's, you know,
hey,
when you're on it, you're on it. I know this game.
So the answer is yes.
Yes. Again, not medical advice, just following the science.
Yes.
So
brainfacts.org.
Brainfacts.org. So a couple things I wanted to catch up with this week. First off, let's catch up with where we left off last week, which was we were talking about your new cereal of choice, Magic Spoon.
Spoon. Yes.
You know.
I brought it here on the program.
Yeah.
This is the peanut butter flavor. Peanut butter. You can see that right here.
Sure.
And let's see. 0 grams of sugar. Great. 4 grams net carbs. Sure. And 14 grams of protein. And somewhere I think, on the back of this box, it says, why it has the whole reasons that they're special, right? So do you ever wonder why you grew up, but your cereal didn't? Magic Spoon reimagines the same sweet deliciousness of your favorite childhood cereal with premium ingredients, complete protein, and no gluten or grains. This box right here contains more protein than a dozen eggs and fewer net carbs than a typical fruit smoothie. But it's so much more fun to eat than a dozen eggs. Or I don't know if it's more fun than a typical fruit smoothie. I mean, fruit smoothies are pretty fun.
Oh my God, I love me a good smoothie.
But I mean, I would not recommend eating the amount of protein in a again, not a medical, but it would seem to me that eating an entire box of this, giving you the protein of an entire dozen of eggs, would maybe not be something you'd want to do. But
so let me.
But I am not the professional, and I guess the devil is in the ingredients list, which we can go over. But comments.
Yeah, I'm about to comment right now. But first, what I want to do is I want to bring up. Do you see what I'm looking at here on my screen share?
Oh, nice. Yeah. Perfect.
Okay. So we're looking at the ingredients here. Because look, like this is all they want you to look at right here. Can you see my cursor?
Yes.
Okay. So this is what they want you to look at, especially if it's like, hey, we're a quote unquote healthy. We're a healthy cereal. Great. Okay, so 9 grams of fat. Well, now we know that fat is good. It's not bad. So okay, fine. Dietary fiber lacking 10 grams of carbohydrates. That's not terrible. 14 grams of protein. That's fantastic. That's like the big buzz thing in the food, in the processed food world. Mm-hmm. Like health claim is like, hey, it's got a ton of protein. Bam. That is a lot of protein. But for 1 cup, and there's 5 servings per container. So to get that, you would have to eat a fifth of that box of cereal.
It's not hard. That's
not
delicious.
Hard.
Yeah,
of course. Then you come down here, and by the way, like you shouldn't be, when you sit down to eat a bowl of cereal, you shouldn't be eating a fifth of a box. You should be able to like get away with, I don't know, right. Like not that much. Yeah. And a cup is like, I don't know, seems a bit much. Either way, milk protein.
A cup is about like what fits in a bowl, as long as you're not like overflowing the bowl, right? Like an average bowl, you put a cup of cereal in it, and like, it's not like over it. The bowl isn't like overflowing.
Sure, sure. I got
it's you. It's like you should be able to eat your cereal and not spill it like as you're like, yeah.
Right. So this is where this is the moneymaker down here. So you look at the milk protein blend, casein, whey protein. I take whey protein every day. I think it's important for people as a way to get like a fast protein source.
Right.
But then
not vegan.
But right, whey is not vegan. Mm-hmm. Vegans do like hemp protein or peat protein, right. Which they should. You should be taking proteins like that. Whey protein though can be a little slippery. Like you really have to be mindful of how you're getting it. So like the whey protein I use it's grass-fed goat protein from a small farm in Washington State. Right. I've met the people who farm it. I've seen pictures of their farm. I'm fairly confident that it's a good, clean source. Mm-hmm. When you're buying whey protein on the open market, like as a source, you could it could come from China. It could come from wherever. It could be, just
and non-grass fed. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And you're not seeing the supply chain from the cow to the time that the whey protein is actually distilled.
Right.
So they don't have to put that. They don't have to say whey protein, with extra this or that in it, with extra sweeteners itself in it. They're just getting the ingredient, and wherever that comes from. Now that's the whey protein bulk. So same thing with the casein. So this is why whey protein is so
right.
weird as an
and
ingredient.
I mean, like you would think, I mean, that if the whey protein came from a source that they were proud of, that they might put it on the box as like a selling point.
Sure.
I mean, although it is sold online or whatever, maybe the information is on the website or something, but I don't think it's sold in stores, so it's not like they have to like blast that in front of everyone,
right? The big selling point with this cereal though is all the protein. If they're going to say something like you get more protein in one box than a dozen eggs, well, let's see, what's 14 times 5? That's 50. That's 70. That's a fucking lie, because one egg has 8 grams of protein.
Right.
So if you do a dozen eggs, that's 96 grams of protein. This box has 5 times 4, 70. So it's already like 9, this doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. Protein.
So
14 grams times 5, right?
Unless they're saying like an egg has 5 grams or 6. Like what do we? I've always known an egg to have 8 grams of protein. Unless they're doing like an egg white and they're leaving out the yolk like a crazy person.
Yeah.
No, So again, these marketing terms are a little goofy. You're seeing the sweeteners here, monk fruit extract, that's fine. Allulose, I'll be honest, I don't know much about. But then you come down here, high oleic, sunflower oil, avocado oil. These are not things you want to start your day with. Peanut oil, peanut flour, Again, not something you really want to start your day with. Is it like the worst thing in the world? No, but peanut oil, super thin oil, very vulnerable to oxidation. Where is that peanut oil coming from? Again, the sourcing of when you start putting multiple ingredients like this together, this is the problem when you start dealing with processed food. Okay, you take these ingredients individually. Monk fruit, people in the keto community use monk fruit all the time. It's a very low glycemic sweetener. Allulose, I believe, is very similar, at least from what I can remember it from. But then you got sunflower oil, not a good oil. Avocado oil. There was an article that came out a year ago about avocado oil that like 99% of the avocado oil on the market is blended with canola and vegetable oil, which are bad oils. So there's like one or two brands of avocado oil that are actually legit.
It's the same with, I mean, even just like olive oil, you know, it's like, it's not olive
You just
oil.
don't know what you don't know what you're getting. And then you also don't know, okay, if they made this into like a cereal, these oils were definitely heated. Like this was all subjected to heat at some stage. So you're going to run into troubles with oxidation, yada, yada. So it's like, is it better than like having high fructose corn syrup? Of course, like, you know, high fructose corn syrup and all these cereals, that's terrible. But it's one of those things where it's like, if it's too good to be true, it probably is. If you have this in your day, I don't see a problem with it because, dude, we all gotta live. Like, you don't have time to every meal make like, you know, a beautiful nutrient dense, you know, perfect meal. There are ways, you know, as a health coach, this is like probably the biggest thing I do is like help people find their way around preparing good food. But if you're like, shoot, I'm hungry, I need something quick, throw this down with some like some milk. Okay, not terrible, but I would not start my day with this. That's
yeah. I will say that when I've replaced dairy milk almost exclusively on your recommendation with canned coconut oil, or no, coconut milk. Coconut cream, coconut milk. It's great. It's just as good, if not better, than dairy milk. I mean, it's, you know, especially in the city here, depending on where you go, it's, you know, it can run up to $4 or $5 a can. So it's a little expensive. You can, I mean, I've found, you know, some, and you have to look at the ingredients on them because a lot of them have, a lot of the coconut milks and cans will have either added sugar or they'll have anti, you know, just like preservatives essentially, you know, to make sure that it, you know, but yeah, you're looking for like the only ingredient on the can is coconuts, and you know, and who knows, like the sourcing and all that on that, but yeah. So,
and the can itself, you know, like I do a little bit of canned coconut milk every day in my smoothie anyways. But
yeah,
you want to be careful with
smoothies, yeah.
You want to be careful with canned coconut milk because the can is also like, they could be high in BPA. Like I specifically find a coconut milk in a can that is low in BPA. And a good cost saving tip, there's like an online market we use called Vitacost, and you can get cans for I think like less than $3 or something.
Oh yeah. I should.
So
I do get things from Vitacost every now and again, and yeah, the canned coconut milk, that's good.
They're great.
I'm always like, oh, what can I get from Vitacost? Like, you know, here, like sent to me in the city where that, I get a PB2, the peanut butter powder. I'm not sure if I use that in my smoothies to avoid all of the oil and stuff. But yeah,
but you got Trader Joe's there. I'm pretty sure Trader Joe's.
Oh yeah. And if I go to Trader Joe's, I mean, I'll stock up forever. But yeah, you know, it's getting there. you know, with COVID, the lines are so long. But I mean, like by the time you're out of there, you're like, that was so worth it. I just got, you know, what would cost me probably $500 for like 2, and you know, it's all. But yeah, and I mean, like I will say, like what I like about the Magic Spoon cereal is that it will prevents me from, not prevents, but like if it's like a late night or something and I'm like, oh, you know, it's like you're like, oh, I really, you know, have like a hankering for some ice cream or something like that. It's like kind of um this kind of checks that box a little. Like you can have like a bowl of this and be like, okay, I'm good on like ice cream or, you know, whatever other crazy late night snack you were about to, you know, destroy your body with.
And the thing is with this stuff too, if that's how you're doing it, it's not bad. You know, it's like I lean more towards practical than perfect.
Yeah.
So it's like,
yeah,
you know, you want, if you're gonna have carbs like that, nighttime's the best time. Even though this is like a high protein thing, you don't want to have high protein late at night. But at the same time, it's like, okay, I know why you're eating that. It's like, so you don't eat a bowl of ice cream. Pretty fair trade-off, if you ask me.
Yeah.
It's just starting your day with that. To me,
definitely
is a
not,
bad idea.
Definitely not as like a meal replacement. Like
you don't do it, but
I don't do it as a meal replacement, but I'm sure that like I'm sure, and then I'm gonna say like some random percentage off, you know, that I made up. But
go with the percentage. What do you think?
I was gonna say that probably, you know, 70% of the people who buy it like open up their day with a bowl of this, like instead of like making themselves you know, something.
Well, you know, too, it's
like
it's
an
a
actual balanced breakfast. Yeah,
I'm familiar with the cereal because it's promoted by so many like
it is
like health influencers, big names that I get a lot of really good information from, and you know, they're like, oh, I start my day with Magic Spoon. Like, no, you don't.
No way.
You don't. That's such nonsense. Like you. But I get why they want to sell Magic Spoon. So,
and I'm sure the affiliate offers for it is quite good because I mean, like you get 4 boxes of cereal mailed to you, and it's $35 a month, right? And I mean, like this stuff, it can't cost any more than a dollar or two to make a box. And then, you know, the shipping and everything. So like at scale, like say, I would say that like $15 on the top of every order is probably like funny money for the company that they can, you know, oh, here's $10-15 per order that goes through your affiliate link or whatever. So
right.
So I'm sure and you know, it's once people try it, I think that they're, you know, it does kind of, and I will say that like I've tried other keto cereals, like the ones that are on the shelf in say like Whole Foods or something like that like claim to be keto cereal, and they're not as well, you know, like they don't emulate like the cereal you destroyed yourself with as a kid quite the way that this does, or not even
keto is
actually. Yeah,
I'm blown away by people who are still keto zealots right now, because it's been such a bastardized marketing bonanza.
Yes,
that it's like I was giving blood yesterday, which by the way, if you eat a lot of red meat, give blood if you're a dude. it's a good thing to do for society, but most importantly, you're going to avoid like the harmful effects that iron buildup can bring when you eat a lot of red meat. Regardless, I didn't have access to my phone, so I couldn't sit there and scroll through Instagram and do the things that we do when we're in the waiting room waiting to get in. So I was watching, they had a TV, and I was watching these commercials for Slim Fast now is in the keto game. And they're selling these, they call them Keto Bomb. They're basically like they're basically peanut butter cups.
Yes, terrible.
They're basically peanut butter cups. And I'm like sitting there like get a keto bomb with this much fat and this much protein.
Don't do that to yourself.
Dude, but this is what they do to people. This is why, like, to me, keto is a joke now. Like, I know, I understand like the reason for it. I understand that people have had amazing benefits with it.
Oh, sure.
But keto, it's like the term carbohydrates. It's like you have the term carbohydrates, and you're mixing cake. You're lumping in cake and carrots in the same category.
Right.
So with keto, you have keto that you use for children to keep them from having epileptic seizures, or keto that you can take somebody who's obese and literally get them down to a reasonable weight, and then you have keto junk. And this is now like what people, I want to be keto. I always say it's like if moms in Long Island it's over.
It's easy to be keto. It's easy to be keto. They have replacements for all your favorite, whatever. And it's like
if you don't want to die like your first 2 weeks of keto, you're not doing keto right, because that's how you do. That's how you go from having like excessive amounts of carbohydrates to like severely dropping your carbohydrates under like they say 50. I would even say like 30 grams of carbohydrates a day to drop. And that's like just because you're going to naturally take in carbohydrates, because carbohydrates are in basically every food. If you're eating vegetables, at least you're going to have some carbohydrates. But a lot of people aren't doing it. They're just like bologna, string cheese, and, a keto, like a magic spoon keto thing, or like, just nonsense. Like if you're eating a freaking peanut butter cup fat bomb, you're not doing keto. I'm sorry. You're doing a bastardized version that's filled with. You might as well just not be keto. You might as well just.
So Slim Fast makes those bars. At like anything branded Atkins is like when I did a keto, when I was a keto zealot back in like 7 years ago now, lost a ton of weight. All my friends were like, "Oh, what are you doing?" And I would say keto, just but I mean, like I felt like I was doing more paleo, but and my friends would start doing it, and then like I would show up to like a kickball game or something like that, because I was playing kickball at the time, and it was like a lot of my kickball friends who were like, "What are you doing?" And I'd show up, and they'd be like, "Oh yeah, I've been doing keto," and then like in between games, it'd be like, "Oh, here, have this," and they'd hand me like an Atkins bar, and I'm like, this isn't what I meant by like doing keto. Like if I eat this, I will be and that's sort of the problem with keto in a way. It's that like like if I eat this Atkins bar right now, I will like essentially
you'll spike your blood sugar.
I'll
and then
spike my blood sugar, and then almost immediately be right back to where
crash. You'll crash hard.
Crash immediately.
You'll be craving carbohydrates like crazy.
Yes,
because that's what happens.
That's what happens. Yep. And they're
like
you
have to be.
Those same people are like it's weird. I'm not like losing weight doing keto, and I'm like, that's because you're not. This isn't what I'm talking. And then here's what happens with that is so many people try to do keto, and most people fail because they don't do it right, or to be honest, your body's not set up for it. Like it's not an ideal thing for you to do. It's genetics. It's like your long-term diet. It's your blood sugar. It's like you have to be reasonable with like where you're coming from.
And then, you know, what happens is they fail. And then you have all of these people that are like, see, keto doesn't work because all these people are failing. And it's like, there's so much nuance to the story.
So much
and
nuance.
It's like you said, if you're not doing keto right, and then you go back and you have not saying carbohydrates like, you know, sweet potatoes and carrots and things like that. I'm saying like you go have a carbohydrate, like you have a can of soda, you have a piece of cake, you have ice cream, you have a snack bar, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
Your blood sugar doesn't know what to do anymore. You completely reprogrammed your metabolism, and what you've done is you've essentially retarded, you know, the pathway of how sugar gets metabolized in your blood. So now you're not as insulin sensitive. You completely like muted your insulin sensitivity. And then, you know, and this happens in most people, a lot of people who do it right. Like I know a guy who's, you know, he's doing one meal a day. He's been keto for years. He's just one of these annoying keto zealots. And he's like, here's the data from, you know, a high carb day. And I had like 3 Mountain Dews, and I had, you know, birthday cake, and I had a bagel, and look, my blood sugar didn't spike that much. Like, right, because you're doing it right, because I know you know about nutrition. The people doing the junk food keto diet, they're not doing this, and so what happens is they run into those problems.
Like I would say that like if you aren't the reason I was able to do keto for the amount of time I was able to do it was because I was unemployed. I didn't have, I wasn't running all around the city. Because I was unemployed, I didn't have a lot of money. Right. So I wasn't like eating out. Right. So I was just like, okay, I can prepare my own meals. I can, you know, like if you're somebody who, is, you know, eating out all the time, like if I would say like 75% of your meals are being consumed outside of the house, then you're probably keto is going to be hard and very expensive, and like and you're probably not actually doing keto. You know what I mean? Because you're probably popping into this, you know, the Walgreens and going back to like the protein bars, like looking for the Atkins approved ones. And I mean, like, I was like, you know, it was still like where I was like, oh, I can't eat carrots because that is, you know, if I had a carrot, that would like put me out of, you know, ketosis, right? Like, no. And I would say that it's good in that you like, I had no idea that carrots like had so much sugar in them. Like, and I'm like, oh, no wonder I loved carrots when I was a kid, because I was just, you know, I mean, whether it's good or bad it just depends on so many different things. But like, it's a good way to educate yourself as to like the glycemic index of just about everything you come across. For, you know, like you do that for a good like 6 months, it's like you have a pretty good idea of like how much sugar is in everything. You know, and how much fiber is in things, and how much that you know, plays into it, and whatever. It's a good way to educate yourself, to like, you know, if you really want to like, it's an immersive way to learn all that stuff, as a
that is the, I'd say that's probably the one silver lining of keto, you know, is people start to become more aware. You're not anymore looking for low fat food. You're looking for, you're a little more educated on that. Like, yeah, I don't have to get low fat. Low fat's kind of nonsense. I'm not going to have margarine because even though it's low fat, it's not butter. You should have butter. You shouldn't have margarine.
Exactly.
But the people who are dropping the butter in the coffee and all this stuff, like, you know, I interviewed a doctor recently. I'm not going to say who, but he was telling me, he's like, I do the bulletproof coffee. I drop the butter in the coffee, and, you know, he's gotten to be, you know, older, and he's like, all of a sudden my triglycerides went crazy. And it's like, yeah, this all has a limit. You can't do it forever.
That was part of I think like I had come back around to do it, like trying after not having done it, after having that long period where I was doing it. It was maybe like 3-4 years later, I had of course gained all the weight back, and I was like, okay, I need to go back to keto or whatever. And that was a big thing. I totally lost my train of thought, but where it's just like, wait, what about, because everyone's just like, what about cholesterol? What about, and I was like, oh no, it's if you do it right, and then not actually knowing anything about it. And I was like, maybe I should, before I open my mouth, go and like look some of this up. And like all you can really find are like Reddit forums where some people are like, my cholesterol, I did keto, my cholesterol's through the roof. And then somebody calling that person an idiot and saying that like they're not doing it right or something. And then another, and it's just like, there aren't a ton of studies out there. And yeah, I mean,
and if there were, you wouldn't know how to read them anyways.
Yeah.
Like, be honest, these people, and I don't mean you personally, I mean like everybody. Like, be honest, you don't even, you can't even put some of these are mouse studies. Some of these are like such low interventional trials. Some of them they're just so poorly done. I think the debate is still out there, with cholesterol and heart disease and all these things. It's, I'm not personally worried about cholesterol because I understand that there's so much more to the story than just your LDL number, right? Your LDL number and your triglycerides, and then your blood sugar, your blood pressure, all these things, like your heart rate. Now, this was a fun little chat about keto, but I did want to shift into a story that could actually go off the back of this that I found out, which is, let's do a screen share. Let's do a Chrome tab. Where are you? Let's do this. Bam. You see that?
Yep.
Diabetes surges among American youth, study shows. So this is like the thing to me that is the whole point in all of these conversations. I think we were talking about this a little bit last week, but this just came out yesterday. This press release for this study that came out where they found the number of young people with the most prevalent form of diabetes nearly doubled in the last 17 years. So between 2001 and 2017, the rate of young people between 10 and 19 years old with type 2 diabetes increased by 95%. 95%.
That is so much.
That's insanity, dude. Insanity, because all the stuff we've been talking about where we're like, having sugar in the morning, fried foods, all these things. It's like, kids are eating it. When you look at Kellogg's as a business, when you look at Kentucky Fried Chicken as a business, when you look at, who are the other ones? Post and all of these processed food companies, they make a lot of money. And it's not just their ability to buy back their stock and sell it and all this stuff. It's because people are buying their shit, and people are buying more of their shit.
And they're figuring out, and they're selling, they're being bought and sold all the time, these brands, and the reason that they're sold to, why something is sold to Kraft is because Kraft goes, we actually know a cheaper way of making that. And by buying that brand, we can actually make it cheaper with like worse ingredients.
Right.
Yeah.
And they're telling you, they're like, but it's low fat, but it's keto, but it's American Heart Association approved.
Yeah. And
they're still making all this money, and people are still getting diabetes. We've never been more conscious of like health topics, I think, ever in the history of humanity. When you look at like per capita, like everyone knows the keto diet. Everybody knows they should lose weight. Everybody knows they need a diet and exercise and blah, 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 whatever. But yet somehow people's kids are getting fatter and getting more diabetes. So what are we actually accomplishing with this, especially in a time of COVID, when we know that the people who have diabetes have the worst time with this. You know, what are we really doing? You know, I hate to use this term, but as a society, what are we really doing? Well, we're not doing anything. We're getting a lot worse. And, you know, you look at a study like this, and there's really some interesting, I haven't read through the study. All I know is like this Reuters press release. So if you actually dive into the study, I'm sure there's even more interesting information they've taken out. But look at this. 1 in 10 Americans have diabetes. Okay. So like 1.6 million out of the 34 million is type 1 diabetes. That's the autoimmune disease that most people are basically born with. Those are the people that have to carry around the insulin with them because their pancreas just does not make insulin. So, you know, they could eat a carrot and they could die. But that's not the problem. It's a problem, but it's not the problem. The problem is the type 2 diabetes, which used to, again, be called adult onset diabetes, because you can only get that as an adult. Well, now you have millions of children who have type 2 diabetes. This is the diabetes that you literally eat yourself into. So the reason this bothers me so much is because, first of all, like, it's, in my opinion, it's a crime against humanity for children. Right. Like, you know, I don't say that like just to be hyperbolic. Like, I literally believe that, because what you've basically done is, and I'm not blaming parents, I'm not blaming the kids, I'm not even really blaming the food companies. It's just like all a giant, it's just all a giant movement in this direction.
It's all a giant capitalist mess.
But it's not even capitalism. I don't think capitalism. What they're doing is giving people the stuff they want. You know, which is what capitalism should be. The problem is that nobody is saying, hey, we should not be giving our kids this food. You know, we should not be keeping Pop-Tarts out of kids. There's like, I don't know, 100 more flavors of Pop-Tarts now than when I was a kid, right? We should not be making boxes so colorful and advertising the stuff that causes this during children's shows. It's like, if you watch a commercial for Lucky Charms, I want Lucky Charms after I see that commercial. It's fucking delicious.
I wonder if instead of like, it's like you see these boxes of cereal and stuff with the American, you said like the American Heart Association like logo like stamped onto it. It's like actually like it should basically be like, I don't know if you've ever seen a pack of cigarettes in Canada where like it's basically just like a big skull and crossbone like on the pack. Like, how about instead of the American Heart Association like stamp of approval, we put like a skull and cross? Actually, that might make it more badass, and I would probably.
Well, that would make it more badass.
Yeah.
The reason is because like Kellogg's pays for the American Heart Association.
Oh, exactly.
You know, and then these companies, it's not even like Kellogg's, it's like the trade group that they fall under. So some of these companies are actually owned by even bigger like trade associations, and you go on their sites and you see they own 500 companies. And it's all the stuff that you know. And then that trade organization pays for the American Heart Association. So the American Heart Association is like, they're like, what do you got? You got Pop-Tarts? We'll stamp on that. You know, what do you got? Keto ice cream? Yeah, we'll stamp on that. No problem. So this is the problem. And parents just don't know. You know, parents just don't know. They're like, you know, what do I give my kid? I got to give my kid something fast.
Part of this complete breakfast. It's like,
and it's just,
and all crazy. You hear is complete breakfast. Great.
Complete. Then when you complete breakfast, it's the worst stuff. It's like the bowl of cereal, a cup of orange juice, 2 pieces of toast with some margarine, some other cakey croissant thing, you know, and you're like, if you ate a complete breakfast, you would lose a toe at least within a couple of years. And what bothers me about this is okay, the diabetes is one thing, but then what you get is all of the associated health conditions that come with diabetes. So it's not just diabetes now blood pressure. Now it's going to also be heart problems. It's going to be mood disorders, general obesity, and all of these things cost money to manage. And so you wonder, like, oh, not only is our healthcare system screwed, but they just are bringing in more and more customers. And, you know, yeah, no doctor is going to tell you to not take it. A functional medicine doctor will probably tell you, you don't need to take medication for that. You could do this with diet and exercise and a good lifestyle. But a lot of doctors are like, I have too many people in my waiting room. Like, here's your diabetes medication, comes with all these side effects. They see the person, you know, a couple months later, person now had migraines coming from the medication. They say, okay, well, here's a medication for the migraine. Then they come back and they're like, you know, hey, now I've got, now I've got shaky leg syndrome. I've got anxiety and I got depression. Now here's scripts for all that. And this is how you put people under the age of 18 on multiple medications and keep them on there forever. And yeah, they don't get better. And it's like, we're just looking at that. We're going, well, that's just the world we live in. We're just going to keep.
That's just it. Yeah.
Just keep dishing out hyper palatable food. And, you know, I love when people start pulling like the race card out of everywhere. And this is all we've heard about COVID is it disproportionately affects Black and, you know, Latino people and all this stuff. And it's like, yeah, you know why? Because larger increases in type 2 prevalence were found among young people who are Black or Hispanic, according to this study in JAMA. So, I mean, and then this is the even better one. Type 1 diabetes remains more common among white youth. So why would that be? Well, probably because, you know, white people, and I hate going down this road, but I'm just going to state what I believe is why this is relevant. Because if you're going to say like, okay, if we're just going to claim that white people have more money, they're more, you know, basically what they're doing is they're sanitizing themselves and they're sanitizing their children into autoimmunity. This is the thing that people just forget about the immune system, is that it's very unpredictable. And you're not trying to like, you don't want to like sanitize everything in your life because you give your immune system nothing to work with. And so eventually what starts to happen is you start to develop autoimmunity when you're constantly hand sanitizing, you're constantly vaccinating, you're constantly giving people antibiotics. This is what happens. And so what you start to get then is you start to get these more instances of autoimmunity. You got Hashimoto's in women, right? Hypothyroid. You got, multiple sclerosis. You got rheumatoid arthritis. You got lupus. You got and type 1 diabetes is one of those things that comes when your immune system is literally attacking your pancreas, literally attacking itself, and you start to develop that. So it's no surprise that, you know, white youth who are kept in a bubble, they're kept in a bubble because we have helicopter parents who want their kids, you know, to hold their hands while they cross the street, and, you know, make sure you bring your hand sanitizer if you do anything in your life, and, you know, take an antibiotic the second you start feeling yourself getting sick. So, I think these numbers tell a much bigger story than even this press release can tell.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to get the to find the full study and see what's in there, because I mean, we know that like the Reuters and the AP and I mean, like, you know, I mean, almost every local newscast like will have like some headline about some new studies show, and it's just like the thing that's going to keep people watching or interested, right? It's like they don't actually go any deeper into the study than
Sure.
what the attention grabbing headline is, right? And a lot of times the person writing the article like isn't even writing the headline, right? So like,
right,
you know, so it's even more like shocking or whatever than
this should be shocking. And at the end of the day, it's like you always got to be suspicious of like these studies that promote a thing, and then the news and all the PR outlets jump on it, and they're all telling you the same story. And essentially, there is a call to action, which is like, get this drug. Okay, that's probably the most common one you're going to see in a thing. A study like this, it's just numbers. I don't think it's maybe it's telling you like, hey, be careful because your kid might get type 2 diabetes. And I don't know. I don't remember if the article actually even says like, here's how you get diabetes.
Which is
worse. because they're basically saying like type 2 diabetes, raising rates of diabetes which is preventable. Okay, see, so this person from the CDC is actually saying that type 2 diabetes is preventable, which is it has the potential to create a cascade of poor health outcomes. So they're saying it, and that's why I look at this and I go, okay, this is a good press release. Now I don't know how good like the data is, but I mean, when I read that, it's like this is something that's been on my radar forever, and it's like it's just confirming to me like what I already knew. But to think like let's sit back and think 15, 16 years, type 2 diabetes in children, not adults, not adults 30 to 40, not, elder people between like 50 and 80, children between 10 and 17 years old.
Kiddos, yeah.
Double, dude, double. I mean, that is a massive problem. And, this is why we're here, because now it's like, these people don't put it together like, oh, I got brain fog, oh my god, I'm depressed, oh my god, I got anxiety. Well, are you also one of the 34 million Americans that has type 2 diabetes? And that doesn't even account for the people that are pre-diabetic, because the CDC also reports that there's a large percentage of people that are diabetic but are not diagnosed diabetic because they just don't go to the doctor and get this diagnosis.
Right.
So 1 out of 10 Americans diagnosed with diabetes, not just like, like I could be pre-diabetic, pre-diabetic. I forget what the range of your things, but it just means you have a bad diet. But I'm not going to a doctor to say, hey, your blood sugar's out of control. Like you can feel it. Do you need multiple naps throughout the day? Do you generally just can't stop eating? Do you have crazy blood sugar swings? I mean, there's a good chance are you a BMI over I don't know what, like 25 or something? You're pre-diabetic.
Yeah. Now here's a question. Okay, so we have all of these children who are now. Oh, you there? Looks like you froze up a little bit. Oh, there you are. So like we have all these children who perhaps almost in every case. Maybe not, but like have diabetes, right? Okay, I'm now 19 years old. I'm out of my parents' house. I have type 2 diabetes now. But oh, I gotta get rid of that. What can I do? Can you? Is there do you just have to manage that for the rest of your life, or is there a cure?
Well,
like at that young, like I know that like in adults, like it's really just you manage it. That's my understanding of it. Is that it's just you manage it for the rest of your life, and that there's no.
Well, if you want to live a good life, you manage to get rid of it. That's what you do. You don't like manage. Just basically means I'm going to take this medication and I'm going to see my doctor and he's going to tell me to keep taking the medication. That's management. That's criminal. That's wrong. Like they should not be doing that. I'm not telling anybody like this is not medical advice. Okay, definitely consult your doctor. I'm not your doctor. I'm not a doctor. But what I do know is that type 2 diabetes is totally possible. The lady from the CDC said that it's completely preventable, and if it's preventable, then it's possible to reverse it. Happens all the time. Those are all the success stories of keto people. It's like I was type 2 diabetic and I reversed it. How did you do it? I did it with keto. It's not easy, and I really don't like when people go, oh, it's so easy to reverse type 2 diabetes. It's not, because you basically have to change somebody's entire eating.
Oh, your entire chemistry. Yeah. Your
chemistry, your eating pattern. I mean, habits are the hardest thing for people to change. Like it's hard for me to change. Like I've been trying to do something like, as simple as like, hey, have breakfast before you drink your morning coffee. I've just been trying to experiment. Like, how does that affect my blood sugar? How does that affect my sleep or my metabolism and my sleep? And it's just difficult for me because I don't have the habit of doing it. My habit is get up, be up for a couple hours, then have coffee, let
figure it out. Yeah. What do I need?
And then have breakfast. Now I'm like, hey, you got to have breakfast first thing in the morning because it's going to stabilize your blood sugar. And then you won't have the 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 blood sugar swings that come with having a coffee first thing, or just like experimenting with it. But just to do that, like I'm not hinging on life or death. I'm not diabetic. I'm not hinging on if I don't do this, I'm going to be on medication for the rest of my life, and it's still hard for me. So like when somebody is deeper, way deeper down that rabbit hole than I am, then it's like, yeah, it's you don't want to be on medication for the rest of your life, but like in order to change, in order to turn this fucking speedboat, this cruise ship going at the speed of a speedboat around on a dime, it's going to take just an insane amount of effort, an insane amount of discipline. And quite frankly, if you have worked your way into diabetes, discipline is not your strong suit, you know? So it's like now you have to change so much. There's little like, that's like what I enjoy about working with people is like, it's like, I just try to go, look, there are easy things you can do that we can do that will help, but it's not the total answer, you know? So like get rid of the oils, get rid of the sugar, get rid of the bad fats, get rid of, time your meals better, prepare your meals better, eat more nutrient dense stuff, get rid of bread, get rid of these inflammatory grains. I mean, there's just so many little things that people can do that will certainly help. But again, it's like if you took 19 years to get to this point, it's just not going to happen. It's not going to happen in a week, and that's the thing. It's like salad Mondays. It's like when you go to an office, I used to work in an office and I was just surrounded by, I was in the healthcare field. That's how I got interested in all this stuff. And it was like the healthcare field, it's home to the most unhealthy people, dude. It just blows my mind. And it would be all of these people who were obese and they were sedentary, and then they're like, Monday's the day. Monday, I'm going to the gym and I'm going to eat a salad. I brought my salad for lunch. The amount of times I heard the same person say that they brought a salad for lunch and this was the week and they're down like 1 pound in like 2 months of dieting, and they just keep doing the same thing over and over again. It was like, dude, it literally break my heart. Like you're not doing it right. But you can't go to somebody and say that. So like, yeah, you have to. You just decide, I'm not going to manage this. I'm going to reverse this shit. And then you take the steps, you force yourself into discipline, and you start to discover foods that like, that's the other thing too, is like, if you're diabetic, you don't have the palate for good food. You have the palate for hyper palatable foods, high sugar. It's funny because I'm like going through a podcast I did and I'm like looking at clips to pull out, and there's one and that I did on somebody else's, and we were talking about this very thing. And for me, like the biggest game changer when I like figured out like my own health paradigm was when I changed my gut biome to not be down with hyper sweet foods. Yeah. So when that whole thing changed, it was like, yeah, I can't even eat I can't eat a candy bar right now. If I eat a candy bar, it'll feel like a nuclear explosion of sugar in my mouth, and it's just gross. Like I'll eat some grapes. To me, like in Puerto Rico, we have these things called canepas, and they're like these little green fruits that they're only around for like a month out of the year, but they're big right now. And you bite into one of these things, it's like eating a Starburst. It's so good, and it's better to me because it's like I don't have the palate for an actual Starburst, but it's enough for me. Yeah. And then you get the fiber. I didn't mean to like ramble, but I think that's the biggest thing.
I have the thing now where I will go to the grocery store and just like stare at all of the food, and I'm just like, okay, none of this is like doing it for me, like if it's not I mean, like it's almost like my body, or a better example is like I was looking for a lunch real quick the other day, and I went to like the deli down the street and was just like staring at the menu, and I was like, oh, none of it none of it like looked good or appetizing. I mean, it was fun. You know, it was nothing about the place. It was nothing about. It's just like you're just like, what on here? And then like eventually, I'm just like, yeah, can you like there are all these different sandwiches or whatever. I'm like, okay, well they have that ingredient, they have that. Can you put all of these ingredients like in one thing? You know, like
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a funny thing where like you just don't, you're just like not into like what is like offered, I guess, like at most places. You know, it's a funny thing.
Story of my life.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Well, we've done an hour, amigo.
Hey, that was fun.
That was fun, and it was definitely more than the 30 that we tried to stick with. But
yes, we didn't get to the Beyond Burger. I was doing a little research on that, but let's talk about the Beyond Burger next time, and maybe we can lump the Impossible Burger in with that. Yeah.
I just had a thought, actually.
Yeah.
And this is going to be fun for the viewers. We'll start a segment because this tends to be like what we're doing every week now.
Mm-hmm.
What's Nick eating? That's how we'll start the show. That's the you know, that's a segment we'll incorporate in the show.
Yeah.
What is producer Nick eating?
Mm-hmm.
And then you just throw down on what you're eating. Well, and I'll tell you you're a fat piece of shit, and here's why. And you're just making the diabetic crisis worse. And
oh yeah, I'm just lining the pockets of big type 2.
Big type 2.
Yeah.
It's in our lives. What can we do? Big type 2.
I'm getting type 2 diabetes mailed to me.
They love you. They come knock on your door. They're like, "What can we give? Can we give you more magic
spoon?
Can we give you more?" I mean, you don't have to have magic. You can do real Cocoa Puffs if you want.
Yeah.
We're big type 2. You're one of our best representatives.
Yeah. Yeah, and yeah, like or what marketing scheme did Nick fall for in like the health, the quote unquote health food space?
Oh, what a great segment. I'm excited for this. These are gonna be fun.
Yeah.
What's Nick eating?
Yeah.
Yeah. Should be,
and you know, there's no shortage of that kind of stuff around here in New York City, you know, like the grab and go, you know, well branded, you know, great graphic design, and you know, so yeah, that'll be fun.
I think it's gonna be huge. I like it.
All right.
So just a quick thing for all the viewers. Thanks for tuning into the stream. This is a thing we do every week. If you're new, found this somehow, subscribe, rate, review. Go check out our podcast. Go check out all the other content we have on the Holistic Nootropics YouTube channel. We got a ton of videos that are going to be dropping over the next couple months. And go over to holisticnootropics.com and download a copy of the free supplement guide. Me and Nick are talking all about health and wellness, but you know, supplements are great because when you have a diet or lifestyle that's missing some nutrients, you can supplement it, but you got to make sure you get supplements. So I teach you how to do that with the supplement guide. So go over to holisticnootropics.com, top of the homepage, enter your email. I will email it right over to you, and you will be a better supplement buyer. That's what we want. So with that, everybody, thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Later.